Okay. Now we're all upset that Gypsy and Ken are on this app and this I can't remember this app, which mostly caters to minors. Now, they were on there yesterday and, recorded and all that other stuff. They went live. Now, did you all know? Because I didn't know. I just found out from Anxious Ant over on YT, which y'all should check out after this video. Ken has actually had that profile for a while now. It says that he still lives in Texas. So clearly he's been going on this minor catered app for a while now. Ken.
Let's dive deep into what's been going on with Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her husband Ken, because the situation is getting more unsettling by the day. After losing their monetization privileges on TikTok due to new platform rules targeting convicted felons, it seems like they've been pushed into some questionable and frankly disturbing behavior just to stay relevant and make money. What they're doing now is far beyond normal social media antics. It's crossing serious boundaries. Recently, both Gypsy and Ken were caught using Omi TV, a video chat app that randomly connects users through live video. While it might sound harmless on the surface, Omi TV is notorious for having little to no moderation, no age verification, and no real safeguards against inappropriate interactions. It's a platform heavily used by teenagers and even younger kids because it's easy to access and gives a sense of unfiltered freedom. But that freedom comes with risks, especially when adults with problematic pasts show up. Gypsy and Ken weren't just lurking or browsing on Omi TV, they were actively engaging with underage users. Smiling, chatting, and interacting in a way that seemed like they welcomed the attention from minors who recognized them. This wasn't a casual or accidental presence. Ken's account on the app dates back months, possibly to his time living in Dallas, Texas. This means this isn't some spontaneous decision, it's a long-term habit. So what exactly has Ken been doing on this app for so long? Was he trying to connect with others, offer advice, or just pass time? Or was there something more inappropriate happening behind the scenes? Unfortunately, without more details, it's impossible to say for sure, but the very idea of an adult man spending extensive time on an unsupervised kids app is a huge red flag. Gypsy Rose's involvement makes things even more alarming. She carries a dark history, including being tied to a highly publicized case involving the murder of her mother, a crime steeped in manipulation and emotional abuse. To see her actively participating alongside Ken on a platform dominated by children, treating it like just another social space, raises serious questions about her judgment and intentions. One particularly chilling detail is a video recorded by a young girl who appeared to be underage. She was visibly shocked upon recognizing Gypsy Rose, who seemed to soak in the moment of recognition, basking in the attention like a celebrity. The dynamic here is deeply troubling because this app has no protections for these kids, no filters to keep interactions safe or age-appropriate. Why would two adults with such complicated, controversial backgrounds choose to spend time on a platform filled mostly with kids and teens? What's their goal? It's clear this isn't accidental or coincidental. It looks like a calculated choice to engage in a space with little oversight or accountability. Adding to the complexity is the timing. After TikTok introduced new policies preventing convicted felons like Gypsy Rose from monetizing their content, she and Ken scrambled to find alternative ways to maintain their online presence and income.
This is disturbing. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is seemingly targeting children as her new audience. GRB and Ken were spotted on a chat roulette site that a lot of children and teenagers frequent. One of them even reached out to her on TikTok, sending a private message saying it was so nice to speak to her and Ken and asking for a follow back. GRB screenshotted this and put it in her story, like it's some type of flex. Do you know what would be a flex? Screenshotting a message where somebody reaches out talking about how GRB has inspired them, how her story has touched them in such a way it's made an impact on their life. But apparently asking for a follow back is post-worthy. Maybe because the messages I was talking about just don't exist. I'm not sure what this hard rebrand is, jumping into a completely different type of project without any type of segue in. But it is raising eyebrows and people are very concerned. And the rebrand aside, who would be comfortable with GRB and Ken on a website where teenagers go? Seemingly targeting, trying to tap in to a vulnerable audience.
Now, did you all know? Because I didn't know. I just found out from Anxious Ant over on YT, which y'all should check out after this video. Ken has actually had that profile for a while now. It says that he still lives in Texas. So clearly he's been going on this minor catered app for a while now. Ken.
They turned to YouTube, shedding their previous dramatic and sensational content for a softer, more family-friendly persona. Gypsy began to portray herself as a wholesome, nurturing mother figure, using calming piano music, gentle backgrounds, and cute baby noises to create a brand new image focused on motherhood and domestic life. But behind this carefully crafted facade lies a much more concerning reality. Being on Omi TV with Ken, who has his own troubling past and behavior, on a platform teeming with vulnerable children is not just reckless, it's dangerous. The combination of Ken's unchecked presence and Gypsy's controversial history creates a scenario that no responsible adult should be involved in. If this situation involved anyone else with their backgrounds, authorities would be quick to intervene. Child Protective Services would almost certainly be alerted if adults with criminal records were found interacting with minors on an unsupervised app. Yet, for some reason, Gypsy and Ken seem to have slipped under the radar, or perhaps the public has not fully grasped the severity of what's happening. What we're witnessing appears to be a desperate attempt to cling to relevance and financial stability, but it's a dangerous game with real consequences. The lines between seeking redemption or healing and exploiting attention for profit have blurred, and what remains is a troubling pattern of behavior that puts young, impressionable users at risk. This raises critical questions about online safety, the responsibility of public figures, and the platforms themselves. How did these two end up on a kids' app with no moderation? What kind of messages or influence are they sending? And most importantly, what protections need to be put in place to prevent potentially harmful interactions like this from happening again? Her attempt to reinvent herself didn't pan out the way she envisioned. Despite all her efforts, the internet hasn't forgotten her past, and critics continue to call her out. The audience she hoped to attract simply wasn't responding, and her viewership stalled. So what did she do next? She disabled comments, effectively shutting down any dialogue or criticism. With no interaction, her channel stopped growing and became stagnant. Now, she's shifted gears with a new, more calculated approach, one that feels far more manipulative. She's deliberately focusing on a younger crowd, an audience less likely to question her or dig into her history. These are kids who don't have the background knowledge of court documents, documentaries, or media exposés. Simply put, she's targeting children because they see her as a fun, relatable online personality, a famous internet mom, not as someone connected to a dark and tragic past.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Gypsy Rose and Ken are out here on Omi TV just casually chatting it up with random strangers, and some of those strangers are children? I'm sorry, what? Guys, Omi TV is literally one of those random video chat roulette sites. You don't sign up with ID. Don't verify your age. You just click and bam, you're in someone's living room or worse. This is not TikTok Live. This is not YouTube. This isn't even Zoom in a waiting room. This is completely unfiltered and full of minors. And Gypsy and Ken are sitting there laughing like it's some cute date night activity. Oh, we're just talking to kids on Omi TV. So the same woman who the internet still treats like a poor, traumatized victim is now having laughs with Ken on a platform that openly connects them to children. Children they don't know, completely unsupervised. How is that okay to anyone? Y'all, this isn't about being judgmental. It's about being aware. Because if anyone else, especially someone with a criminal history and a viral reputation, was caught talking to kids on a free, unmonitored app, y'all would be blowing up CPS. This isn't a PR move. This isn't a content strategy. This is concerning. And honestly, it's gross. Why are these two on Omi TV? This app isn't known for making friends. It's known for chaos and creeps, honestly. So what are they doing there? And really think about it. Gypsy Rose has a history of being a predator online, allegedly, okay? She met Nicholas Godejohn on the internet and then had Nicholas Godejohn take her mother's life. That is predatory behavior. Isn't this the same thing?
We are getting into Harry Potter. What kind of self-esteem? I need to stop.
This move isn't born out of desperation alone, it's a strategic play, and it raises serious concerns. Gypsy understands that kids and teens are highly impressionable. They aren't going to sift through legal records or deep investigative reports. Most of them only know the simplified, sanitized version of her story. To them, she is a symbol of resilience, a woman who survived terrible odds, now with a baby, a fiancé, and a following on social media. They don't see the complexity behind the headlines, no manipulation, no crime, no accountability. They just see a familiar, popular figure, and Gypsy is fully exploiting that image. She's capitalizing on their innocence, curiosity, and admiration. Young followers are searching for role models, and she's stepping right into that space, not because she truly deserves it, but because these kids won't challenge her. Every message, every follow, every emoji heart she receives fuels her ego and provides the validation she's been craving, validation she's lost from adults who understand her past. Gypsy has even posted screenshots of heartfelt messages from these young fans, messages filled with wide-eyed wonder, adoration, and excitement about meeting her. She uses these to boost her image and prove she still has supporters, even if those supporters are mostly kids. But this isn't something to be proud of, it's yet another tactic of manipulation, a way to cling to relevance and approval, no matter the cost or who gets exploited in the process. And then there's Ken. He's far from a bystander here, he's actively involved in this scheme alongside Gypsy. Ken knows exactly what's going on. With Gypsy losing income and support, and no longer receiving a steady paycheck from Lifetime, he's likely more reliant on her than ever. So when Gypsy profits, Ken benefits, which might explain why he's willing to take risks by engaging on controversial platforms like Omi TV. Their success is intertwined, but the price they pay is steep: their integrity, their safety, and most troublingly, the well-being of the children they're reaching. They're repeating the same reckless behavior that got Gypsy demonetized on TikTok. Her criminal past is exactly why she should not be given access to vulnerable groups, especially kids, on unmonitored platforms. Let's not forget the darkest part of Gypsy's history. She was a key player in orchestrating her mother's murder, manipulating her then-boyfriend, Nicholas John, into carrying it out. There were even moments when she seemed willing to give up her own child to him. This is more than shocking, it's deeply disturbing. Fast forward to now, Gypsy is online, smiling and chatting with kids, many of whom have no idea who she really is.
This is disturbing. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is seemingly targeting children as her new audience. GRB and Ken were spotted on a chat roulette site that a lot of children and teenagers frequent. One of them even reached out to her on TikTok, sending a private message saying it was so nice to speak to her and Ken and asking for a follow back. GRB screenshotted this and put it in her story, like it's some type of flex. Do you know what would be a flex? Screenshotting a message where somebody reaches out talking about how GRB has inspired them, how her story has touched them in such a way it's made an impact on their life. But apparently asking for a follow back is post-worthy. Maybe because the messages I was talking about just don't exist. I'm not sure what this hard rebrand is, jumping into a completely different type of project without any type of segue in. But it is raising eyebrows and people are very concerned. And the rebrand aside, who would be comfortable with GRB and Ken on a website where teenagers go, seemingly targeting, trying to tap in to a vulnerable audience?
Now, did you all know? Because I didn't know. I just found out from Anxious Ant over on YT, which y'all should check out after this video. Ken has actually had that profile for a while now. It says that he still lives in Texas. So clearly he's been going on this minor catered app for a while now. Ken. Okay. Now we're all upset that Gypsy and Ken are on this app and this OME, I can't remember this app, which mostly caters to minors. Now, they were on there yesterday and, recorded and all that other stuff. They went live. Now, did you all know? Because I didn't know. I just found out from Anxious Ant over on YT, which y'all should check out after this video. Ken has actually had that profile for a while now. It says that he still lives in Texas. So clearly he's been going on this minor catered app for a while now. Ken.
We are getting into Harry Potter music. What's on the stealth stairs? We need a stealth.
They only see a soft-spoken woman with a baby in her arms, surrounded by pastel hues and gentle music. That's the side she presents to them. They don't know about the layers beneath, the manipulation hidden behind her smile. To these kids, she's just a TikTok famous mom, not someone connected to one of the most harrowing crimes of recent times. This creates a dangerous situation. Children are being fed a false narrative about someone who should be approaching life with humility and accountability, but instead is putting herself on a pedestal. It's not only confusing, it's harmful. They are idolizing someone without understanding the full picture, and if no one speaks up, this distorted image becomes a breeding ground for misinformation, glamorizing crime, and unchecked influence. Gypsy is fully aware of what she's doing. Kids should never be taught that violence or crime can be a path to fame, followers, or brand deals, that making noise on social media matters more than honesty, kindness, and responsibility. But that's the message she's sending loud and clear by appearing on platforms meant for innocent entertainment and storytelling. Her notoriety isn't the result of talent or hard work, it's rooted in a tragedy she helped mastermind. Now she's marketing herself as a role model for children, smiling, waving, and acting as if her past never happened, like a clean slate was given. But the truth remains, and no matter how much she tries to rewrite the narrative, that dark history is still there. But here's the real issue: kids watching her don't see the full story. They don't grasp the seriousness of her past. All they notice is the fame, and if no one steps up to set the record straight, they might start believing that infamy is a shortcut to success. That's not just confusing, it's incredibly damaging. It sends the wrong message to some of the most impressionable young minds out there. Honestly, maybe it's time for Gypsy to step away from social media completely, not just take a break, but quit altogether, for the safety of everyone, especially the kids who are watching. We live in a world where young people need role models who actually stand for something real, not people who built their fame on a foundation of violence. Let's be honest, if Gypsy genuinely wants to change her life, she should find steady, honest work like anyone else. Not rely on social media, not parade her child for views, and certainly not try to build a brand off a tragic past. Social media has handed her countless chances, platform after platform, but each time, she's chosen attention-seeking over genuine growth, manipulation over self-reflection, and that's why maybe it's time to say enough is enough. When someone keeps showing you who they really are, you have to believe it and respond accordingly. So, what do you think? Is Gypsy exploiting kids just to stay relevant? Is Ken really okay with all of this happening just for a few dollars? Where do you stand on this? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated, because if this keeps spiraling the way it is, there's definitely more drama on the horizon.